I am Phil Van Valkenburg, better known as Pee Wee, and I founded the Fat Tire Tour of Milwaukee in 1985 because I had a bunch of friends I knew who would be fun to go anywhere with. I tried to have a new tavern on the route every year because the idea of exploring the underbelly of Milwaukee was to locate those unique watering holes, of which there was no shortage. The first Fat Tire Tour of Milwaukee in 1985, the big hit movie that year was Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And I remember Lynn Quackenbush was on the ride, and she said, "Okay, Pee Wee, where are we going now?" And then Mar made the name stick, and I've been Pee Wee ever since.
Phil is definitely a biking icon in Wisconsin and in the Midwest. Since the 1970s, he was writing books about biking. He's started many different bike events that are still going on today, and he was recently inducted into the Wisconsin Bike Hall of Fame. So he's done a lot to help make biking great.
I've had the good fortune of having people like Jason and his dad be regulars on the ride, and have perpetuated it into the future here.
Biking has been a part of my life since I can't even remember, and Phil is a friend of my dad's, and I've known him my whole life as well, and it was really fun growing up watching all these old guys do crazy stuff on bikes, and I started getting involved when I was old enough with the Fat Tire Tour Milwaukee, helping Phil with the games, and it was just a natural kind of transition where I was able to help carry the torch. This event started in 1985, and there's a bunch of guys that are still doing it today that did the first one, and some have done every one since then. And we thought it'd be kind of cool to tear them off their bikes, convince them with some free beer to hang out and tell us some of their stories and see what they remember from the early years.
I'm Joel Fisher. I am one of the founders of the FTTM. Done several rides since, but not all.
Hi, I'm Dana Hansen. I guess I am also a founder. I've done all of the FTTMs except one of them.
Greg Stather. My first year was 1986 in the Fat Tire.
Hi, I'm John Manders, also known as Gramps to most people. I've been doing this ride since I believe 88.
I'm Freddie. I haven't done as many Fat Tire tours of Milwaukee as everybody else.
I'm Jeff Kowalczyk. I'm the only person left who has done every single Fat Tire Tour in Milwaukee. That's because I really have nothing better to do there in the first couple weeks of June.
The Fat Tire has just been a collection of oddities, people and places that we go to.
It's almost the Ripley's Believe It or Not of bicycling, beer, and the underbelly. What always astounded me was who the hell found all these bars? I mean, the Concertina bar.
The Concertina bar was one of the best finds ever.
You know, it's
You
like
didn't have to find them, they found them.
Years of research.
I was living in Milwaukee at the time, just noodling around on my mountain bike, getting sucked into various taverns.
They found you.
Yeah.
Originally, it was Pee Wee's friends and friends
Yeah.
of friends of Pee Wee's, and
then everybody from Green Bay would come out to your place, and then we'd all go down together.
so Dana was a founder.
You invited me. I borrowed a bike from you
Yeah.
because I didn't have a mountain bike.
Actually, I bought my first mountain bike the morning of the first Fat Tire Tour. Some guys that ran a bike shop, remember the guys in La Crosse?
Yeah.
I bought a specialized touring bike, a specialized expedition from them the year before. And I called them up and I said, "Hey, have you got a mountain bike you'd like to sell?" "Oh yeah, we'll bring it over."
They brought it to the ride?
Yeah, they brought it to the ride.
I was a young man when I started doing the Fat Tire Tour of Milwaukee, and you look at me now, I mean, I'm old, right?
I try not to.
But as I recall, there were 21 people the first year. Could be 17, I don't know. We showed up and I've done every one, so it's been a good time for sure. So what year did you start, John?
I think it was the third year. You invited me to come down, and I made some lifelong friends that day.
The descriptor in the beginning was hard to explain. Well, what is it? Just that underbelly
Tour
thing.
the underbelly of Milwaukee.
The first time I was at, we're going down Menominee River Parkway. I've never been down there on a bike.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Our decaying urban infrastructure is a perfect playground for fat tire bikes. Mountain bikes and balloon-tired bombers are made for exploring the underbelly of Milwaukee. One man's trash heap is another man's mountain. Slip around to the seamy side. Ride through hobo jungles, forsaken wild places, graffiti art galleries. Drop in at sleazy bars and other places that don't smell so good. If mom asks where you're going, just say, it's a Zen thing.
Many years the invitation was better than the event.
I can remember a year or two where Pee Wee, the ride was being held up while he was over at Kinko's getting the maps printed up so we could hand them out at the start.
I think that was more than 1 year.
Yeah.
What Phil was able to accomplish back in the 1980s without computers and digital cameras and design software was really impressive. His style was newspaper clippings and all kinds of things he'd collect throughout the year leading up to the event and photocopied it all together, and that became the flyer for the year. And even the maps themselves were really hacked together, and that was part of the fun. The joke was there was no chance you were going to follow this map. You were almost surely going to get lost, and people actually liked it. He would choose bars that had tons of character, probably the kind of character you wouldn't want to experience unless you were surrounded with 50 other people. But again, that was part of the lure of the event, and it was different every year. And that's the experience that kept people coming back for over 30 years.
How did Wolski's get chose as the first place?
How could it not?
I was already familiar with Wolski's because that place I was living in was basically just up the hill from there. We stopped in at the Sail and Rail. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. There's 100 people and one older lady with a beehive hairdo having a hard time waiting on everybody. And so Chad goes in back of the bar and starts waiting on people. And she says, "Do you do this every Saturday?" And I said, "No, it's a once a year thing." And it was her first day on the job.
Joanne and I went to the Concertina bar because we heard about it, I don't know where from. And we went there on a Friday. It was incredible. There were guys and girls, or husbands and wives, dressed to the nines, sawdust on the floor, 3-piece concertina band playing, and they're just dancing the night away. And I thought, wow, this is something. And I called Pee Wee about it, and I said, you should include this in the tour because it is a slice of life. And same thing with Gene and Marcy's Holler House on the south side.
Yeah.
Oldest bowling alley in the United States. I think 2 lanes with guys that are pin setting.
Pin
It's
setters still running.
out of the
Jockeys.
yes.
Pin jockeys.
You remember the year it rained so hard? And
That was the second year.
we're standing on the bridge watching the water come down. You see these huge logs and you think they're gonna like knock the bridge over or something.
I remember getting a photo of some guy riding through a place that was flooded until he was up to his neck.
He was still riding up to his neck?
Yeah. That was pretty epic.
Yeah,
And so the legend grows.
I would say because the water resistance when you're that far, that would be very difficult.
Legends aren't made for details.
This event is all about having fun on bikes, and Pee Wee is great at making that happen. Besides the event just fun all around, he would throw in all these crazy games throughout the day that would test your bike skills and have you win little goofy prizes to take home and display to your friends and family. And that's what made it fun and why people wanted to keep coming back for so many years.
We'd set up a newspaper toss. I brought an old screen door, and the contest was to toss a newspaper through the window. And Will Goddard was there that year. He took a photo of it, and then he wrote an article for Mountain Bike Magazine.
The beer barrel bump.
Beer barrel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. That should be in the Olympics.
Look at that bad deed there.
The first time I staged that, I made a mistake and used half barrels, and people were bending their forks.
As you can see, this event is filled with great history, amazing memories, experiences, and it's more than just a day of biking. It's biking with your friends, it's meeting new friends, it's seeing the city in a way that you've never seen it before. You really need to experience it for yourself. If for no other reason than witnessing the amazing healing power of beer.
Funniest thing I can remember, strangely enough, was Ketter Hagen draining his bloody toe in Wolski's sink.
One time when Pee Wee had a headache and went into a drugstore to get some aspirin, and he came out with a t-shirt that said, "I'm hooked on Oriental drugs," and had noodles hanging out of his nose.
So many friends, so many adventures, so many taverns, so many lost turns, mixed routes, and no, I don't have anything better to do with my life.
Well, you gotta have a dream. I guess people having fun on bikes is an awfully good dream to have.